Hey guys, welcome to another video. In our intro, we alluded to a huge collection that we purchased.
We've been buying storage units up until this point. Maybe 6 months ago, we started actively going after storage units again and winning some, losing some, and just kind of going on about that normal routine. And then there came across a storage unit, and I didn't see any toys or anything, but I did see in the back there was several boxes that said women's purses. And I know women's purses some can be valuable. So we bid on it. Price kind of ran up a little higher than we wanted to go. And so I just stopped. We ended up losing, or we didn't win that auction. Maybe an hour, or I don't remember the time. I don't know if it was an hour or the next day, but we got a backup offer notice, meaning the original winner did not win did not pay for the auction. So they sent out to anybody who bid on it a backup, like buy it now, first come, first serve. I went back on and I thought, you know what, let's do it. Said, I'll accept it. And we won the auction. Called Dan, said, hey, we won the auction. I'm going to go pay for it. Put our lock on it. He was going to come down the next day and we were going to empty it out. So I went over there, found a bunch of purses, Coach. There was a Gucci purse in there.
Some Michael Kors.
Yeah, some Michael Kors purses. It was not what we typically like to sell, but there was money to be made in it.
So we ended up going to the storage place, and we got out of our cars and started heading over to the elevators to go up to the floor where it was. And there was a huge U-Haul parked there, and these people unloading all these collectibles, planes, tanks, models.
They were all... I guess the person had everything on a rollaway cart, and it was a cart, I don't know, 6 feet tall.
Yeah, 6 feet.
Of shelves with wheels
shelves,
on it.
Yeah.
Maybe not 3 feet. 30 inches deep or something like that. And just full of models and toys, and they were loading up this big U-Haul truck.
Yeah, we kind of joked as we went by. It's like, oh, that's great stuff. Why don't you load that in our car? And they kind of chuckled, we chuckled, and
we went about our business.
Yeah, we went about our business and came down with the first load and unloaded and saw the guys again. And I just asked them real quick. It's like, hey, that's a great collection. How long you been collecting or something of that fashion? And the gentleman replied, oh, it's not our collection. We had a friend who passed away. He had 5 storage units full of all these collectibles, which... got me.
Our eyes,
yeah. I was like, oh my god. And I'm like, oh, is any of this stuff for sale, or are you guys going to sell any stuff? What's your plans with them? He said, yeah, we're going to sell it, but they were just trying to get out of those 5 units because it was costing them $2 or $3 grand a month just to rent all those units. So they had a friend that was
the one that we saw was a 10 by 20.
Yeah,
at
they were
least.
huge units.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my god, these were packed full of collectibles. They had a friend up north who was going to store all that stuff or take possession of it or something like that. And we were like, is there anything that we're willing to buy some stuff today? And they said, yeah, we'll get your number in exchange, blah, blah, blah. Thought nothing more of it, went upstairs, got on the load, came down. And the guy is like, hey, we got a few things left over that won't fit in the truck. You guys want to come see? So I called John really quick and said, hey, get down here. Came in, looked at the stuff. It was all great stuff. Huge models, large airplanes. There's some tanks,
some of these back here.
Yeah, huge, like 1/18 scale stuff. Really good stuff. And we made a good deal with them and purchased the stuff and added that to our lot for the day. And as we were leaving, one of the guys said, hey, I have another friend who passed away, and he has 2 houses and 2 storage units full of collectibles, we're looking for somebody to get rid of. And we're like, oh yeah, we're really interested. Got his contact information, and over the next 2 or 3 months, just every so often would send him a text, hey, how's it going? What are you guys looking at? Is it, are you still looking to get rid of this stuff? And yeah. And come around this past Christmas.
Well, and I think key to us getting to actually go to the storage unit was Dan's persistence. Because I told Dan, I said, I don't think this is going to happen. A delay and then a delay. And it wasn't delays on purpose. It was just, I don't think they were ready.
Yeah, once we saw exactly what it was, we kind of understood more. Yeah. There was so much stuff, and it just took them that long to kind of prep it and get it ready and figure out, what's the really super high dollar stuff that they were going to take to auction versus the kind of the lower dollar stuff, or what they considered lower dollar stuff to sell off to us. So we ended up getting a call around Christmas that we could go over to the storage unit and they had stuff ready for us. It was about a 3-day time. It was right before Christmas that we got the notice, and it was going to be a day or two after Christmas. So for John and I, it was
literally like Christmas as a kid, waiting, Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
like,
we had
oh
4
God.
Christmas Eves in a row. We were waiting and waiting and waiting till we could go see this stuff because we'd heard so much about it and been so long. We showed up, and it's just a wall of boxes. We're like, oh, wow, that's a lot of stuff, more than we thought. And then they're like, oh, then there's this wall over here of boxes. Oh, and then there's this pile of boxes down here. And we were like, oh, my God, this is incredible.
I mean, there was 50 boxes?
Yeah, 50 huge boxes. They were 30 long by 24 wide by 12 inches high. They had packed it all up for us, which was amazing. Then there was a pile of smaller boxes. They had kind of had it separated out into what they called good stuff and bulk stuff. We just looked at it and we're like, oh my God, this is incredible.
I mean, my first thought was, we're not going to have enough money for this.
Or enough room for this stuff either. We negotiated and we came to a pretty fair deal. And we said, okay, well, we're going to pack our cars as full as we can today. And we packed those up and took that first load away and turned around and rented a U-Haul the next day, a 17-foot U-Haul, and packed that thing full with these boxes. I mean, it was incredible.
And there was a point where we didn't think it was going to fit in that U-Haul.
Yeah, just boxes kept coming. It's like, oh yeah, and take this and take this.
Yeah, it was constantly add-ons. Why don't you put this in there? Why don't you put this in there?
Yeah.
And, it was great.
It was awesome. And we had to go rent a storage unit then to put all this stuff because we tried to fit some of it in our garages, but man, it was way too much to fit in a garage. And then from that point, we had that stuff for about a week, kind of went through really quick and just said, we kind of said, this is too much stuff. We have to get rid of some of the stuff that kind of the lower dollar value stuff, which was
it wasn't even really lower dollar. It's stuff that there was so much of it, and it isn't. I would say it was in the 10 to 15. $10 to $15-$20 range. So you might be profiting anywhere from $5 to $15 per piece, which if that was the only thing that was in the collection, we would have kept it. We could have made a good return on it. But because there was all of that, and then there was all of this really good stuff, like I said, we just barely scratched the surface of what was there, of what we saw. We thought, it'd be better if we get rid of the bulk items quickly so we can focus on the higher quality items, spend our time there, and spend our time more wisely.
Yeah, the other thing is that they had more. They had the 2 houses full of stuff that they said it's going to take us a couple more weeks to get through that stuff in order for you guys to come take a look at that. And so that's what we were looking at. We had this giant mountain of stuff. We'd already filled a 10 by 10 storage
10
unit.
by 13.
10 by 13 storage unit with this stuff already, and there was more to come. So it was, we had to make that decision. It's like, let's just get rid of the stuff that we can right now, because we got a couple people that are interested in buying in bulk. And we were able to get rid of some of that volume to make room. And we got that call a week later, hey, come grab this stuff. Once again,
and that was the picture where he had sent some preview photos, and he's like, oh yeah, I found some G.I. Joes at the house. And I've been a fan of G.I. Joes. I mean, since, not the 12-inch, that was before me, but the 3 3/4-inch G.I. Joes from the 80, started in 82, 83. G.I. Joe was the only comic book I ever subscribed to, and I remember getting issues in the mail in a brown paper sleeve every month, read them in 10 minutes, and then have to wait 30 days until the next one came. One of the pictures was a box full of G.I. Joe boxes. It was the 82 to 84 playset. My eyes just popped out of my head, and I could see some loose figures and vehicles, but not. I couldn't see what exactly was in the box. We had to wait a week after we saw that picture, and it's
Christmas all over again. Turned out, he said, oh, I think it'll fit in your guys' 2 cars when you show up, and we look at a mountain.
Yeah.
Just a mountain of stuff sitting in the garage and in the driveway, and we're like, oh, this isn't going to fit in our vehicles. There's no way. Even if we brought a U-Haul, it probably wouldn't have fit. There's, once again, just so much great stuff that we hadn't seen before, interesting stuff, old stuff. We loaded up our cars as full as we could, came back and said, all right, now we gotta get another storage unit because we gotta go back and fill up our cars again. And this happened several weeks in a row. We've gone back 4 weeks in a row.
It was always a
since then.
call.
Yeah.
Hey, can you guys come back next weekend? I got some more stuff.
Yeah, we got more stuff. We got more. We found more. We found more. I mean, it was, the owners were such great people, such awesome people, and told us a lot about the collector and the stories. That just made us even more excited to get this collection and bring you guys these videos of it. Like we said in our intro, we want to share this with you guys because it's such great stuff, and the collector, that's what he would want for his stuff.
We would love to tell you who this person is.
The family has requested that we keep his name out of our videos, at least for now. At some point, we'll be able to tell you, we'll be able to put a name to the collection. So we're just going to call him the collector right now because we figure that's at least a stoic enough name for him. So with all of that said, that's kind of the background on how we got the stuff. Once again, blind fate. We should have never won that locker, or we should have never been in time to get the backup offer for that. Never purchased the locker.
And not things that we normally like to sell.
Exactly. If we hadn't have said something, if they hadn't been rolling that stuff out right at the time we got there, if we hadn't said something to them, I hadn't said something again when we came back out, none of this would have ever happened. We would have never met the guy who introduced us to this family. We would have never had the collection. He would have never turned into a good friend of ours. It's crazy how this happened. We couldn't be more excited that it did happen and that we're able to bring it to you.
More grateful, just so grateful that, we're allowed to even be part of this collection.
Yeah, it's just amazing. We're going to make a ton of videos over it, next few months, next 4 or 5 months. Like I said, there's just so much stuff, so much interesting stuff. We're going to make tons of videos. And we have a little preview of how much stuff there is. We're going to take a trip to my storage locker, to John's storage locker. We're going to film the stuff that John has at his house, the stuff that I have at my house. Put that all together. You'll see what we have, and then we'll start cranking out videos, hopefully, and show you guys what's in all these boxes and bins.
So if you like what you see, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and most importantly, hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever we post a new video from the collection. We hope you enjoy.